be our last question.
Please.
Hello, my name is Jasmine. I'm an assistant principal for a middle school in Oakland, and we are doing as much as we can to educate our students about the Muwekma Ohlone tribe and people. But also being in that region of Oakland and San Francisco, I'm also aware of a push to give Black residents reparations. And so I'm just curious, because I'm here with my wife, Renee, who is a beautiful Native woman, hey baby. These are conversations we have in the house all the time, being that we are an interracial couple. And for me, I can't quite wrap my mind around Black people in the Bay Area getting reparations before the Native people of the Bay Area getting tribal recognition or getting their own reparations in a sense, or their land back. And so I'm just wondering, like, what those what those kind of movements or pushes in the political sphere, what does that mean for you? What are some of the outcomes? Do you feel like that helps? Do you feel like that pushes your journey for justice for your people? Do you feel like that pushes that back?
I think it started in the 60s, right, with the Martin Luther King movements of African Americans moving for their rights, full rights, and I think that helped supported the Native American issue as well with AIM, American Indian movement. So at that time it seemed like it definitely worked hand in hand.
I want to add something. I have to say, as a person who's lived in California a long time, I was in the invisible history part that you were talking about. There were enslaved Africans on this land too, right? California was almost a slave state. Native Americans were enslaved here, and American colonial settlers brought unfree Africans to California. And I think we need to, as citizens of California, we need to acknowledge that too. We need to acknowledge the exploitation of Chinese immigrant labor, right? We need to do that at Stanford, and the way our campus is built on the blood and toil of Chinese immigrant labor. I think we need justice for many communities that have been harmed by American colonialism. And I did work with your mother, who had many allies in African American activist communities in the Bay Area. And I think it's going to be time again, thank you for telling us about your candidacy, for these communities to support each other and for activists to stand up and support justice. Because I have to tell you, justice for Muwekma serves justice for other communities of color as well.
There's a really famous photograph out there, if you Google Muwekma, archaeologists, and then the chairwoman of Muwekma, you'll see a photograph of the previous chair defending, looks like she's attacking an archaeologist, but she's not. She's defending the body of the person that the archaeologist had pulled out of the ground and is asking for its return. I want you to look at the photograph because Cabazon, the court case that established gaming in California for the rest of the country, didn't happen before that incident. If that encounter between the archaeologist and Charlene's mom had nothing to do with gaming, nothing. And that's how we have to look at this. It's a human rights issue, and we either believe in it or we don't. And there are problems being created by people's lack of initiative, lack of courage, especially from our local politicians, who you think, lefty politicians would be pretty good for Native people. Turns out, no, not happening. So anyway, it's not about gaming, it's about self-determination, it's about justice, and it's about human rights. And so look up that photograph, look at the dates. It's not about reparations, it's about just angling for a presence in this political environment.
Thank you, Mike. She actually did hit the archaeologist.
Okay, so there's a whole story.
I can say that.
Yes, well, she lost her freedom from that. Charlene lost her mom. This is no joke. It wasn't about gambling. It was about this thing that really was upsetting, and that needed to happen. So
It was
anyway.
an act of resistance to protect our people, to protect our sacred lands.
Well, I have to say, Muwekma has been really in the forefront of the modern American Indian civil rights movement. And it hurts, right, as an ally of the tribe, to see how you initiated the conversation on repatriation, how your community took control over the treatment of your ancestral dead, how you spent years and years and years working with other non-recognized tribes to try to band together for justice, and how special interests and political forces are still keeping you down. And I agree with you. It is inevitable that justice will happen, but it really ignores the really powerful impact that the tribe has had on national politics, as well as on our local quality of life and our education. I can't tell you how lucky I feel to be in the homeland of the Muwekma Ohlone people, who are so hospitable. They're not asking us to leave. They want to be our friends, right? We are, and the tremendous support that Stanford has received in its educational and research programs from the tribe. We are deeply grateful for the friendship of the Muwekma Ohlone tribe, and I think all of us are very fortunate to live in their homeland.
Thank you again to Harker for having us here. We really appreciate the space, and there's a few words from Jennifer.
Thank you, Matthew. And I just want to really genuinely thank this panel. We feel privileged, we feel humbled that you are here today to educate all of us, our community, and our greater community. And I can't thank you enough for coming so that we can continue to share this message. And of course, I hope you all please continue to visit with our panelists. Please join us in our lobby for coffee and cookies and further conversation if you would like. So thank you and have a wonderful evening.